The Jets' loss to the Arizona Cardinals marks the third time in franchise history that we have started 0-5. Here are my top 5 takeaways from today's game. Jets, Jets, Jets! Welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot today. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Guys, I'm not going to waste any more of your time the way the Jets have wasted my time. I've wasted your time. So let's jump right into the top 5 takeaways from today's game. At number 5, let's talk about Kyler Murray. He went 27 of 37, had 9 carries, had a total of 411 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and he was lights out. It's one of those things where the Jets have had a hard time containing running quarterbacks, and it just showed again today. Now, he didn't have a ton of yards on the ground. He only had like 31 yards on the ground. But the threat of him running and the way the Jets had to play their defense really showed just how valuable a mobile quarterback is. And it's kind of interesting, the Jets looking ahead towards the draft potentially, or at least fans starting to look towards the draft. Kyler Murray was selected number 1 overall after the Cardinals selected Josh Rosen in the 2018 draft. Sam Darnold, taken in the 2018 draft, may be getting moved on from if the Jets wind up with number 1 overall to possibly get Trevor Lawrence. But it shows you just how much a team can change going from, just bottom of the barrel to a successful, exciting team. These players were running around, excited to play this game. The Jets just came out flat. I didn't see any sort of enthusiasm. I guess it's hard to be enthusiastic when you're 0-4 to start, but it just didn't feel like the Jets had any energy coming out of this game. Speaking of replacing your quarterback, let's talk about Joe Flacco. It's the first game he started in about a year. He was 18 of 33, 195 yards and a touchdown. And based on what I saw out of this game, I don't think Sam Darnold has any worry of him losing his starting job to Joe Flacco. Now, come season's end, that's an entirely different story. But based on what we saw out of Joe Flacco, there was really no energy. He kind of had the same issues Sam had. Guys weren't getting open. There was drop balls. Chris Herndon had a terrible drop. Probably could have made it into the end zone on that play. This team just looks totally unenthusiastic, and Joe Flacco's just sort of mannerisms kind of, sort of makes me feel how I feel watching the game. Just stonewalled face and just no energy. Very, very hard to get excited about this team. Let's talk about the one positive I think we could take away from this game, and that was Jamison Crowder. He's really the only NFL caliber receiver or NFL caliber weapon we have on this team. We do have Bell. I'm excited for Bell. It was the first time he's had over 4 yards a carry, I think, all season. Unfortunately, we just don't use him the way we should. But Jamison Crowder, 8 receptions is the third week in a row, or the third game in a row that he's played where he had over 100 yards. So 8 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. He seems like the only baller on this team. I'm glad he's under contract for next year. We are going to need just an influx of weapons. I don't know how you could be looking at the Jets as a free agent going into next offseason. And even with the Jets on all this money, I don't think there's guys looking at our team and saying, oh, you know what? I want to play for that roster. I want to play for that team. Now, maybe if the Jets get the first overall pick, you bring in a new head coach, that creates a little bit of excitement. But based on everything that you're kind of seeing right now, this team is just barren of talent, and Jamison Crowder is the lone bright spot on this roster. And number 2, we'll talk about Adam Gase and a comment he made at his press conference. Adam Gase says, record doesn't match up with the way the team practices. He says, you wouldn't know our record based on the way they practice. To quote Parcells, don't tell me about the labor, show me the baby. And that's what you got to do. This team is so bad on a week in and week out basis. I don't care how good you practice. I don't want to hear about we had a great day in practice. We had, they were catching balls left and right. The defense, was stopping everything. With how inept this offense looks and how inept this defense looks, I don't think you can take away anything from practice. I want to see some results on the field, and you don't get that. You don't even get the enthusiasm from the players. It feels like they've packed it in. I've said this before, with football, it's a very weird dynamic. Because it's such a violent sport, players tend to pack it in and kind of self-preserve because you never know how many years you're actually going to play in this league. And I think you're starting to see a little bit out of that. That's why I'd like to see a lot of the younger guys play. I don't really want to see Flacco play. I don't want to see Frank Gore play. I don't want to see Hogan play. I'd like to see some of these young guys play, but part of that is just getting healthy and just being out on the field, and it just hasn't been the case for the New York Jets. And my final takeaway for today's game, which isn't really a takeaway from the game itself as much as it is just an update for the Jets' schedule in general. Because of everything going on with COVID and some of the teams that have had to shut down their facilities and move schedules around, the Jets roster or the Jets games moving forward have been flexed just a little bit. Next week, we are going to be playing the Miami Dolphins in Miami. That was the game that was supposed to be played week 10 of this year. Our bye week is going from week 11 to week 10, and then our matchup with the Chargers is going to week 11. So a little bit of a switcheroo there. Now, if I'm the Jets and I'm a Jet fan, I'm thinking, okay, what could this possibly mean from a positivity standpoint is maybe if you're hoping for wins, Miami might be one of the games that you could look at, and maybe we get a win before we go 0-6. Or because our bye week is now week 10 instead of week 11, maybe the Jets fire Gase week 10, and then we have one less game of Adam Gase. I don't know. Adam Gase's record between September and October with the New York Jets is 1-10. To put that in perspective, Rich Kotite was 3-15. So it's going to be very interesting going down the stretch. I think there's a really good shot that Adam Gase does not have a better record than Rich Kotite did. This team's bad, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. Were there any positive takeaways from this game? I don't know. As always, go Jets.